Midway point of the season, you know what that means. The MAC standings are airtight as per usual. Ball State with a big opportunity to get to 3-1 today, along with Ohio and Central Michigan also trying to get to that feat in MAC play. Northern Illinois trying to bounce back today as we welcome you to DeKalb and welcome you here to Ball State as they try to back up last week's win over Akron. Big road win for this Cardinal group on the Northern Illinois side of things, trying to stop this losing streak. Big stage at home. Ball State hasn't won on the road yet this year, so trying to search for that elusive road win today. You're watching the MAC on ESPN Plus. Welcome you to Husky Stadium for what should be a fun one today. Two teams that have been known for playing each other airtight in recent years. 3 of the last 4 have come down to game-winning field goals, expecting potentially more of the same today down the stretch as we bring you up and inside of the booth. Jason Ross Jr. alongside Forrest Connolly. Pumped up for this one, Forrest. You have a Ball State group that has essentially flipped their season based on how it started. New season for them, trying to get to 3-1 in conference play, kind of downplaying that right now. NIU knows they haven't won on the road yet this year. Big game for both teams.
Well, for NIU, they want it to be a very physical football game, and it was interesting the Ball State coaches tried to downplay it. They said, hey, it's just a week-to-week schedule, but we both know 3-1 is the goal to stay in the MAC standings and try to compete for a MAC championship.
Absolutely. So we'll start it out with Ball State on their side of things. You look at the talented players they have, both defensively and offensively. You wanted to highlight Nathan Voorhees defensively, Coy Ashley, the running back.
Well, Voorhees is, if you're looking for disruption, he's your guy. He plays with great bend and burst off the edge. And the offensive tackles, they will have to keep square shoulders. And Coy Ashley, he's a slasher, downhill runner, and he can take it to the house, as evidenced by his 72-yard and 69-yard touchdown this season.
Flip it over to the Northern Illinois side. So this group trying to find offense. They've had to switch the QB position a couple of times. Defensively, Deshaun Dixon is a guy who you wanted to touch on. And then offensively, Derry Rogers, no matter who the QB has been, he's been good.
Well, Dixon is the anchor in the middle. He's a space eater. He plays with violent hands. He'll have to affect that offensive line. And Derry Rogers, he's a spark plug for this offense. He's one of those guys that can be a vertical threat. He can catch it in short space. He can make plays when the ball is in his hands. So they'll put him in motion and try to create matchup nightmares.
And 3 of the last 4 have come down to game-winning field goals. 7 out of the last 8 decided by 8 points or less. It's going to be Northern Illinois kicking things off today. Andrew Glass back to kick it off and set to return for Ball State. Eric Weatherly and JoJo Lewis. TJ Horton underneath this one. He had an 89-yard kick return for a touchdown a week ago. Cuts this back and gets stopped inside of his own 20 on the opening kickoff return today. Now, these two groups clash once again this year. A Ball State group coming off a big win over Akron last week at home, their 4th straight homecoming win. Their QB, Kyle Kelly, is as slippery as they come. He had 3 rushing touchdowns a week ago. Forrest, just a tough guy to stop in a number of dynamic ways.
And it's going to be interesting to see how Northern Illinois tries to slow down Kelly. They talked about having a spy. It depends on the formation that they brought out defensively, but they've got to keep eyes on the quarterback at all times because Kelly can burn them with his feet.
They'll hand it off on the opening play to Coy Ashley. He gets brought down out on the edge by Davion Reynolds, their fastest corner, who's starting in place of the injured Dante Harrison today.
And you saw the effect of Kelly on that play. Roy Williams was right there, number 97, to make the play, but he had to keep his eyes on Kelly to make sure Kelly gave the ball up at the mesh point. That'll be key, these defensive ends, how they play Kelly, watching him with this RPO game.
Kyle Kelly's nickname in practice this week has been Action Jackson because his teammates felt he looked like Lamar Jackson a week ago against Akron. He's got 2nd and 8 here. Ball came out. Has to try to pounce on it. Early mishap. It looked like Kelly had it and just lost it. Then fortunately for Ball State fans, pounced on it.
And you saw good push by the Northern Illinois interior defensive line. You see the good push right there. Kelly he tried to bring the ball back down. The ball slipped out of his hands. But there was good push from that defense in the middle of that offensive line. They need to give Kelly a little bit more space. You've got to be stout at the point of attack if you're the 2 guards in the center.
An early opportunity for this Northern Illinois crowd to get into it, knowing their group needs a win today. 3rd and 15. Kelly backed up. He ran for it on a 3rd and 17 on their opening series last week. Got the first down. Does not get it this week. brought down, and that should bring out the punting unit. But a good stop early for this Northern Illinois defense.
You saw what Northern, they showed 6 at the line of scrimmage. They dropped 1. They only rushed 5, but they kept Quinn Erweiler right there, eyes on the quarterback, mirroring the quarterback. They're going to see that. We'll see that throughout this afternoon, spying the quarterback, keeping eyes on him.
Here's your guy, D'Eri Rogers, punt returner by trade, wide receiver by day. He is back to return this punt, and this could set up some really good field position early for the Huskies. Kind of anything you can feed on during the midst of a losing streak, you'll take it, as Adam Saul's punt is high with hang time. And Rogers fair catches it back at his own 40. So Northern Illinois' offense, led by Josh Holst, takes the stage next. The Northern Illinois group coming off a 48-21 loss to Ohio last week. Head coach Thomas Hammock, known for the physical mindset. He felt like that was maybe the one week this year they didn't show up physically. Josh Holst returned to the starting QB position last week. He began the season as the starter, then went to the bench. Brady Davidson took over that role a couple of weeks. Holst steps back into it last week. Trying to find consistency through the air has been a struggle.
What I look for early from this Northern Illinois team is to try to test the edges of this Ball State defense. They are a big outside zone team. They want to get the ball to the edges. They want to see if they can get those edges blocked up.
They'll hand it off, establish the run first. That's been the MO of Husky football for a number of years now. Holst, an Illinois native, walk on, just like several players on this offense. That was Shavon Wright getting the first carry, D2 transfer. A lot of perseverance throughout the journeys of these individuals on this roster, trying to embody that as a season right now. When you look at the record, they're better than it shows, but they'll need that perseverance today. Get a run on the left side this time for Wright. You asked the offensive coordinator Quinn Sanders, who are you running behind if you need 1 yard? He said Aiden Tweedy. That's what they ran behind that time.
You see the big fella, Aiden Tweedy, number 64. He's a squatty player, not real tall, 6'2", 301, but he packs a punch when he fires off the offensive line with that flat back.
I mean, for us, we were kind of taken aback looking at it. Every single player on that O-line that starts is a former walk-on.
And you talk about perseverance and guys that want it. You gotta love that from this offensive line.
They'll run behind it again, trying to pick up the first down. They have it and more. It is Kelly this time, and down the left side, he is gonna run for the touchdown. Telly Johnson Jr.
this is what Telly Johnson has been doing all season long. He had a 74-yard run against Maryland. He had an 80-yard run against Eastern Michigan. Watch him bouncing to the outside. A great job right there, reading the blocking scheme. A good job on the edge by number 54, Evan Malcor, getting that edge, getting that defensive end to the inside, getting a hand on him, allowing for Johnson to bounce it to the outside.
He goes 53 yards, a quick opening score, and a lightning quick opening drive after the defense forced a 3 and out. It's 1,000 career yards for Telly Johnson, and he gets the opening score.
And you see right there, he may have gotten away with a little bit of a hole, but a good job by Evan Malcor, number 54 on the outside. What I love about this play is Telly Johnson Jr. kept his eyes up. The play was designed for him to go between the guard and the tackle, but he read the blocks. He saw that they lost contain, and he was able to bounce it to the outside. The outside linebacker has to do a better job of keeping contained if that defensive end is going to crash down. But he did a good job of reading the play. And what happens a lot of times with defenses, they get crazy eyes, they get the funny eyes. They see an opportunity to make a big play as opposed to doing your 111. And I think that's what happened on that play. Telly Johnson read it, bounced to the outside, and was able to beat everyone down the sideline for the touchdown.
Really a dream start for Northern Illinois today. And they go to their leading back, and he capitalizes. TJ Horton back to return this kick. 3 plays, 60 yards, 1 minute and 8 seconds to get this crowd that was looking for some offense to cheer for on their feet early. Now Ball State trying to come out and answer that after they had a quick opening series. This is a Northern Illinois defense, though, for us, that goes under the radar in terms of how elite they are up the middle and really on the cornerback spots as well, even though you have the injuries today.
Well, the thing about this Northern Illinois team, you know they're going to come with physicality. That's their identity. And you talked about it earlier, Jason. Coach Hammock said that was the first time last week that he didn't see the physicality from his team. And they talked about it, and they practiced to have physical practices this week. And you see the results early.
Quick dart to the sideline, incomplete. And physicality was the name of the game in practice this week, really for both sides. Northern Illinois in particular felt like they got outplayed in that category against Ohio. Category they usually show up in no matter the result. And there have been some close games during the midst of this losing streak. You had a game-winning field goal loss to San Diego State on this field. Came up short by 6 at Eastern Michigan. And Kelly will hand it off to Quay Ashley, brought down by Erweiler. 83 tackles in the season for Erweiler, leading the MAC. This week in practice, they had a unique way of trying to approach tackling Kyle Kelly. They brought in backup wide receiver Kenji Lewis to play quarterback. He was a high school quarterback. The reason doing so, because of his elusiveness, he's now a receiver. They didn't really have someone who could replicate the style of Kelly, who just prolongs plays so well. As you see, Lewis may not see a ton of him offensively, but his role in practice this week was immensely important for how they want to try to bring down Kelly, because Akron simply struggled all game long to bring down Kyle Kelly, who had 3 rushing touchdowns a week ago. Here he is on 3rd and 5, right on cue, steps out of the pocket, steps up. Will he get enough? It might be just short, Forrest. Right as our producer, Sam Ramos, shows that video, Kelly takes off, and maybe the tackling all week of Kenji Lewis in practice came in handy here, because it's 4th and inches.
And this is an interesting call right here. I think even though you're that deep in your own territory, this is possibly a time where you challenge your team and you go for it, especially looking at that first drive by Northern Illinois, how they hammered the ball and was able to get the big touchdown. Maybe this is one of those early tests. I would go for it, and maybe that's the offensive line in me that would take that chance.
The competitive nature, but they'll play it safe here and punt. The tackling of Northern Illinois, though, coming up big there. They worked on that all week long in practice to get stops just like that. Diving on that is Rogers. His offense gets set to come out next when we return. Northern Illinois only needed 3 plays to go 60 yards down the field, and a buck 08 last time. What do they have in store this time around? Both these head coaches know a thing or two about success in the MAC and playing this time of the year. Mike Yeremovich, his first season at Ball State, he actually had 3 different stints on the staff at Northern Illinois as an assistant in different roles. Thomas Hammock, his 7th season as head coach of the Huskies. These two coaches mirror each other in terms of style and mentality. Interesting contrast today on the field so far to this point. Northern Illinois off to a strong start if you tuned in late. Defense forced a 3 and out. And the offense pounced on it quickly with a big run down the field from Telly Johnson. Jason Ross Jr., Forrest Connolly with you from DeKalb. And Josh Holst comes out for his 2nd series. Hasn't thrown the ball yet. Telly Johnson had the 59-yard run for the touchdown of the opening series. Gets swung down there just inside of the 30. He had 11 carries, 64 yards last week. You'll see a lot of 2-back sets out of them as well.
And one of the things that Northern Illinois does not want to do is get in 3rd and long, because then you give the opportunity up for the Ball State pass rush to make and have an effect on this football game. So they want to keep it in 3rd and medium to 3rd and short.
Quick throw to the sideline, getting De'Ari Rogers involved quickly. He had 7 catches, 107 last week in a touchdown. A bright spot in the offensive effort against Ohio.
And you see the fear that De'Ari Rogers puts into a defense. They play off of him. You want to try and keep him in front of you. He has the ability to climb on defensive backs and get behind them, so they're trying to keep him in front of him. They'll give up the underneath yards, but then he's dangerous when he catches the football with all the yards after catch. So he's just a dual threat with the ball in his hands.
Matched up against a safety right now in Derek Fields. They'll run it inside, and the Ball State defense pushing them back on 3rd and short. Jake Beebe, who comes in on those 3rd down plays. Ball State's defense was really good on 3rd down last week against Akron. They will force 4th and 2 here, decision time. Looks like the decision is going to be special teams.
You saw a good push by the Ball State defensive line at the point of attack. On 3rd and short, that's what you want to see. You want to get good push. The first to make contact usually wins the line, wins the battle at the line of scrimmage. So a good job by the defensive line getting pushed at the point of contact, not allowing for a hole to develop.
JoJo Lewis back to return this punt. Denny Vukovic's first punt of the day takes a Northern Illinois roll down inside of the 20 to the 16-yard line. Ball State began the season 0-2, only scored 3 points through those first 2 games. Offense started to click week 3. Last week, a season high 42 points. They were shut out the prior week 42-0 against the Western Michigan team that's 3-0 in MAC play. The bounce back and resilience of this offense a week ago to put up 42 after putting up 0 the week before that was really impressive. Kelly coming out for his 3rd series now. Nothing much to show for it to this point. They go back up the middle in the run game.
You see the physicality by Northern Illinois. Those inside linebackers are coming downhill at the snap of the football. They're crashing. They're identifying what they are doing. There is no second guessing if you're the quarterback right now, Kelly. You've got to read those guys. So I expect him to pull the ball out at the mesh point at some point and try and get over the top of those guys in the middle of this defense, because you've got those guys coming downhill.
You see Irwile, the captain there, calling out the signals defensively for the Huskies. Kelly going to step up. First deep shot of the game. Once Isaiah Thacker. What an adjustment to the football there from Thacker. Did he haul that in? Is the question mark. Northern Illinois defense thinks it's incomplete. We're going to look at it again here. Right now, it looks like they are going to call this incomplete. Yep.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. 3rd down.
And you see they're going after the true freshman, James Finley, early. He's starting today at cornerback. And when you look at that play, Kelly had an opportunity to get down the field. I think if he would have put more air under the football and put it to the outside, because you've got the young player Finley not looking back to locate the football. And so you've got to take advantage of those opportunities when you get those one-on-one chances on the outside.
3rd and 8 here. Pressure picked up. Another throw to the sideline this time. And it is incomplete again. Good defense stepping up for Northern Illinois. Again, without their two starting corners, James Finley slides in, Davion Reynolds slides in, and that group of DBs doing well early defensively.
And he wanted to go to one of his outlets, Keon Magwood. I don't think Magwood gave him enough space right there. He's too close to the sideline. You've got to try and bring that route inside a little bit more to give your quarterback more space to try and get the ball to you on the outside.
Second time today that Thierry Rogers, the punt returner for Northern Illinois, has been able to line up just up near midfield. That's what led to the opening touchdown. Really good field position on their first drive. Saul had to adjust before that right-footed punt, and it's a short one. The 50-yard line is where Northern Illinois will set up. Second time they've had really good field position already. Josh Holst and the group coming out next. Seven up the start for Northern Illinois. This is the trophy these teams have been playing for since 2008. The battle for the Bronze Stalk, youngest rivalry game in the Mid-American Conference. Another edition of it, one that has been one of the tightest of all rivalries in the MAC. 3 of the last 4 decided on last-second field goals. Ball State has won 5 out of 6 after Northern Illinois rattled off 10 in a row at one point. It's the Huskies up in front on their home field. Ball State yet to win on the road this year. 0-4 away from Muncie. Nice cutback up the middle, running right into the teeth of that Ball State defense.
And I think what you're seeing earlier is some positive movement from the Northern Illinois offensive line. They're getting good push at the point of attack. That hole closed up a little bit earlier than I thought it would, but they've got good initial push.
Holst's first throw, drops it off, and it is complete. Able to go to a safety blanket. The tight end, they get enough for the first down. Applegate is a guy who they wanted to get involved more often this week. And his first throw and catch is a first down.
And two things that stood out on that play. Holst holding the ball to the last minute, and Applegate staying up and fighting to get that first down.
Slicing through traffic is right. Bounced off a couple of tacklers. A little pirouette to the 30-yard line, and this offense is moving and grooving once again.
And right now you're seeing the physicality from the ball carriers, not just from the offensive line, from the tight end, from the running back.
Javon Wright, quick first step, quick burst. First guy couldn't bring him down for a second straight run. He's got enough for a first down.
And we talked about this earlier, Jason, when we started. This is what Northern Illinois wanted to do. They wanted to bring physicality to this game. Ball State talked to us about this. They said they were prepared to play a physical, beat-em-up game.
Ankle tackle made that time as they hand it off to Wright once again. Caden Johnson on the tackle, sliding in at the linebacker spot for Stemler. Holst looks pretty calm and in command. Again, lost the starting job a few weeks ago, got it back last week after a good practice. More good practices for him leading up to this game. Throws on this play, and as a completion, another calm connection with Gary Gibbons this time. Another guy in the passing, and they also want to get more involved this week.
And Ball State talked about having concerns. Some of the coaching staff coached against him last year when he was at Valpo. And you see his ability to beat the defensive back to the outside. A good job by Holst knowing where to go with the football.
Go back to the ground game, right? Spinning off tacklers, looking very balanced early for us, which brings up my question for you on the Ball State side of things. I was going to ask you, do you test Holst early, try to make him throw the ball? So far, he's proven that he can, and it's creating a good balanced attack right now for the Huskies.
Well, because they've been able to run the ball effectively, it's keeping these linebackers inside the box, which allows Holst to get man coverage on the outside. That's what you want to do if you're Northern Illinois. Continue to establish the run and make them bring more players down in the box. You get more one-on-one opportunities on the outside.
Speaking of one-on-one, they were looking in the end zone for Bryant, their tallest target. Had a one-on-one matchup with Roman Pearson. No call that the crowd wanted, but they'll reset things here. 3rd and 4 coming up. It's good coverage from Pearson, who's given up about 2 inches there to Bryant.
And he had an opportunity there. I think he just didn't put the ball where he needed to put it. Put it more to the outside. You don't have to make it a jump ball. You have man coverage on the outside right there.
Could still get a first down at the 5 here. He got about to the 6. There's a flag down to the far sideline.
Northern Illinois is continuing to get what they want.
The penalty is half the distance to the goal, results in a first down.
Our referee, Chris LeMange, and as you hear it, 1st and goal now coming up.
And Jason, that's the effective tempo. When you look at what Northern Illinois is doing, they're not bringing any substitutions in, and you caught Ball State trying to get a substitution in the ball game.
Maybe another one-on-one chance. They'll go to the far side this time. Oh, what a pick! Snagged in the end zone by JoJo Lewis. And he's got back-to-back weeks with an interception. This one the most stylish of the two in a big spot.
And to me, this was just an unnecessary play call right now. You're running the ball very effectively. You got the ball 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line. Why not continue to run the football? This play had no chance. It was underthrown. It was poorly thrown. I think Holst decided where he was going before the snap of the football. He felt like he had a favorable matchup on the outside. I just did not like the play call. I think you run the football. They have not stopped them from running the football effectively. You continue to pound this defense.
Wow, what a pick from Lewis. Maybe a momentum changer, as Northern Illinois was knocking on the door of a 2-possession lead. We're gifted with that 1st and goal as well in the penalty. And all of a sudden flip it over, and Ball State comes back on an offense trying to feast off that.
And that was 2 bad throws in the end zone for Holst. And you talked about getting Holst's confidence. You know, you've got to give him some easy throws. I think more of a crossing route, you get more opportunities because those inside linebackers are crashing down or playing close to the line of scrimmage. If you're going to throw the ball, I think that would have been a better route to look at that point.
You wanted George Demopoulos, just wasn't there. Kelly fakes one way, goes the other, lofts it up, climbing the ladder to haul that down, and making the grab was Ty Robinson. Been a seldom used target in the offense this year. That's a big catch there to get Kelly in a rhythm.
And they're going at the young defensive back, Devion Reynolds, and that's what you're seeing. They're looking at matchups. They're looking at the young defensive backs that are starting today, Reynolds and Finley, and they're going at those young fellas. So they've got to do a better job and understand that you're going to be a target. You've got to get your eyes around. You've got to locate the football.
They'll hand it off. Nice hole on that left side. It looked like they're running behind your guy, the 6'10" left tackle, Chris Hood.
And I'm going to watch Chris Hood all afternoon. It's going to be interesting to watch him when he goes against Roy Wood. But you've got the big fella out there, and you see him able to get up to the second level and cover up a defensive line. He covers up anything he gets in front of it. 6'10". He's a huge individual out there.
That something you're excited to watch in that matchup with Williams. Really fun. We'll keep an eye on the left side of the O-line today. Kyle Kelly told us it can get a little dark over on that side sometimes. I got to make sure he isn't there before I throw the ball because I'll accidentally throw it off his head. Looks like a designed keeper for Kelly this time. Slides through and might have picked up enough for a first down. We'll see.
And this is what Ball State needs to do, get an established drive going. They hadn't been able to get an established drive early in this game. Now, with the momentum change, you're seeing an established drive from them now. They're getting the ball to the outside. We're seeing more quarterback keepers on this drive as well.
Another QB keeper left side this time. Kelly dragging tacklers ahead. About a gain of 9. He had 3 rushing touchdowns last week. If you're not familiar with it, he went back to quarterback this year. Played a variety of different positions a season ago, including running back, including wide receiver. Picked up 8 there, looking more like a running back.
And it was interesting, when we talked to him, he talked about getting in the portal. And the only other opportunity he had was to go to Toledo and play wide receiver. He said he wanted to come back to Ball State and play the position that he came to play quarterback, and it gave him the best opportunity to do so. And you see the results this year. He is a true dual-threat quarterback.
They wanted to finish what he started, which is come to college to be a QB. Dart over the middle, that is caught. Big hit taken by Eric Weatherly. Took a hit to make a play, first down. It looks like a Northern Illinois player is down. It was a hard collision. Gain of 16. We'll step aside. With 45 seconds to go here in the opening quarter, Northern Illinois up 7-0.
We just got to hope that he's okay. It looked like he went.
We'll stick around here and hope for the best. It was a very abrupt collision.
And you hear the crowd clapping because he's turned over, he's sitting up now, and that's what you want to see. And that's great right there to see him be able to get up and walk off the field.
Mark Preto walking on his own weight. That is great to see. Montclair, New Jersey native. Defense will come back out. Keep an eye on Preto's status. With 45 seconds left in this quarter. Ball State, after the interception, marching down the field. More designed runs for Kelly. Dragged down this time after a gain of about a yard. This Ball State offense hasn't traveled well this year. Just 7 points per game on the road, nearly 30 per game at home. It's been one of the issues, scoring away from home. This offense had to navigate through a 59-minute weather delay last week against Akron. came back out. TJ Horton had an 89-yard kick return for a touchdown to essentially seal the deal post-weather delay last week. Kelly was one of the guys in the locker room keeping his team locked in during that delay. There's a flag on the far side of the field.
Offside. Defense, number 0. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And that's just a lack of discipline. You've got to watch the football. You can't worry about the hard count. You can't try and get the jump. You've got to watch the football. You can't move until the ball moves, especially when you're right there lined up over the football.
That's Alvin Gully to wind down the opening quarter. That saw Northern Illinois strike first after the defense came up with a big stop. Felt like a much-needed score for the Huskies trying to stem the tide. Telly Johnson went 53 yards. Ball State, though, trying to answer back after the JoJo Lewis pick when we come back. Forrest, this is your type of O-line and your type of left tackle, 6'10".
Well, you got to love the big fella. And the thing I'm going to look for from him is, does he sit down in his hips? Does he keep his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage? If I'm the opposing team, if I'm Northern Illinois, I'm going to test him. I'm going to come with a wide pass rush, see if I can get him to open up those outside shoulders.
And Forrest, going back to your Florida State days, you blocked for a dual threat QB in Charlie Ward.
Absolutely.
You know what that's like?
Yeah, you have to maintain your blocks, because even when you're beat, you're not beat because of the quarterback's ability to avoid that pass rush and get you back into the play. So often when guys are beat, when you don't have a dual threat quarterback, you turn around and you're kind of hoping your quarterback sees him. But when you've got a dual threat guy, you turn around and you keep playing because you know he can bring that guy back to you for a knockout punch.
3rd and 1 here. The big guys up front probably going to lead the way. They'll pitch it. Looking to get it on the edge. Have it. Maybe more. Maybe a touchdown. Diving for the pylon. Came up just short, it looks like. About half an inch shy for TJ Horton of 6 points. But he goes 20 yards to set up 1st and goal.
And it's the eye candy. You see guys coming up, not playing the right pursuit angles, not getting the right fits. You've got to play your fit. You've got to play your 1/11th. Everyone has a job. But too often, guys see the eye candy, the opportunity to make the big play, the big hit, the play behind the line of scrimmage. You've got to stay in your lanes. And you see right there guys coming inside, not keeping contained, not keeping that edge. And once he's able to get around the edge, there's no one left there.
Have a Northern Illinois player down in the field here. Ball State continuing this drive that began with the interception from JoJo Lewis in the end zone on Josh Holst in the one-on-one matchup. Now their longest series of the day after the first couple resulted in punts.
And the thing about that, when you play outside of what your 1/11th is, one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to make the big play and everybody's going to cheer and, you know, congratulate you, or you're going to give up the big play. And so that's the danger in that. If you're not going to do your job, you've got to make the play, because when you don't make the play, you see what happens.
Looks like Alvin Gully being helped off the field for Northern Illinois. He's a key transfer for them from Yale. Big in terms of the middle of that D-line. 6 foot, 302 defensive tackle. So keep an eye on his status, because he is an important piece up front for NIU.
He's another one of those gap plugs. He's one of those guys that gets in there. He plays with good leverage. It's hard to get him moved.
Those are the guys that you did not look forward to blocking on Saturdays. And Kelly takes the snap. They'll hand it off. Horton again driving forward. Not enough to get inside the end zone. So brings up 2nd and goal.
And right now what you're looking for is flatbacks right now, firing off the football, basically playing on all fours. You want to fire off. If you get high, you're going to get pushed back. So for the offensive lineman, you know what the snap count is. You've got to be the first to make contact.
Mark Preto, who got injured earlier for the Huskies, back in. Kelly will keep it. Wide open target in the end zone. Touchdown, Ball State. He finds Cassins, and the Cardinal answer back.
And once again, getting caught with the eye candy, coming downhill, not paying attention to your keys. You've got to stay on top of your man. There were 2 receivers open. You've had a tight end on play side and a tight end coming from the backside, coming down the back end of the end zone. He had 2 places to go with the football. For Northern Illinois, you have to do a better job of playing your keys. Mark Preto got caught looking inside.
Homer's extra point is good, and we are tied 7-7. As per usual, these teams playing each other tight. Each of the last 7 meetings decided by 8 points or less. We're knotted up at 7 apiece, 2nd quarter. 7-7 now, second quarter here at Ball State, Northern Illinois. Ball State with a chance to get to 3-1 in MAC play after their practice on Tuesday. Main message on the PowerPoint board was each week is its own individual season. We're not taking it any further than that. You're looking at each week as being a one-week season. Kind of downplay it, Forrest, but this is a big opportunity, and they come up big, and a big opportunity to answer back from that opening touchdown for Northern Illinois.
Absolutely, and we talked about it off air. I still go back to that play when they decided to throw the football when they were inside the 5-yard line. I think right now on this drive, you've got to get confidence back in Holst. I think you go with safe pass game, some extension of the run game, pass to your backs in the flat, allow them to be playmakers on the outside. Look for some short crossing routes, but you've got to get confidence back in your quarterback after that interception in the end zone.
Devion Reynolds took that out, got cut down. Hold with the tackle, and now the offense comes out for Northern Illinois. It's off to a strong start today, looking pretty balanced outside of the interception in the end zone. So balance, which has eluded them, has been a plus so far to this point. A 19-yard return. There is an injury to a Ball State player on that sequence. I'm not checking on him now. Right over near the NIU sideline. Having unfortunately had a few players dinged up so far to this point. We'll take a quick break here on ESPN Plus. Tie game. Side, Coach Hammock on the right side. 1st and 10 coming up for Northern Illinois. Coach Hammock wanted the plays to get in faster this week in practice. Essentially, call it a no huddle, but they were saying to themselves, why are we snapping the ball, 4 seconds left in the play clock? So the goal in practice, normally they get 16 plays in about 10 minutes. Now they're trying to get that 16 in about 8 minutes to get more info to the QB and Holst, who has been good so far up until that interception in the end zone, trying to bounce back from that mentally. Telly Johnson has been excellent. Broke one here on the left side. dragged down when he gets free, Forrest. I mean, you never know what could happen on the second level.
And I love what they're doing. If you watch what Holst does, he puts the ball in Johnson's belly. And what Johnson does is he waits until those linebackers and those safeties commit down into the box, and then he gets going and bounces it to the outside.
Jackson Wegold with a tackle that could have saved him a lot of yards there. They go back to Johnson, trying to leap over tacklers this time. Looking for a first down. Picked up about 9 in that last run. So did he get enough this time? They're calling it third and very short right now.
And I don't like trying to get to the edge. You've got 2nd and 1 or 2 yards. I think you need to get the dive, get going downhill. Because when you try and get to the edge, you allow that defense to get up the field.
Wegold, who made the tackle on Johnson on the first down run, is injured here with 3rd and inches coming up.
And Coach Hammock talked about physicality, and that gets to that physicality, that nature of football is getting it downhill on that 3rd and short when you're inside the 5, running the football, challenging that offensive line to fire off with flatbacks. That is, to me, what you're talking about when you say the physicality of the game.
See Coach Uremovich there going out to check on Wegold. Ball State staff told their team you got to be ready for a rock fight today. And they knew Northern Illinois was going to bring the physicality, bring the running game. They've gotten the tight ends involved as well in the passing game today. Looks like Wright lining up for a direct snap on 3rd and inches. Applegate in motion to block. They'll run it to that side. Good block from Applegate. And good toughness from Wright.
And you see Ball State was ready for that. They had 7 down in the box. They had their safeties close. But a better job by Applegate to get to the outside, get the block needed to allow for him to get around the edge and get that first down.
Applegate, about 6'4", 242. Lincoln, Nebraska native. Started his career in Nebraska. Just has the build of a guy who can block at tight end. Now they give it to Wright again. Up the middle, you see this rotation of backs that can put some wear and tear on you, Forrest, because you've got 3, potentially 4 that they'll use throughout the course of the day.
And a good job again by Evan Malcor, the left tackle, number 54. He did a good job of washing that defensive end down.
He's the only returning starter on that offensive line for Northern Illinois, the left side. So they stay ahead of the sticks again, 2nd and manageable, which allows you to go to what you want in the playbook, and typically that's the running game. Good tackle there by Caden Johnson. Been good at the linebacker spot today. Brings up 3rd and 3.
But this is an opportunity to get the ball to your back one-on-one against the safety. I think right now you can get Siobhan Wright out in the flat against the safety. That's the matchup that they're looking for.
Brought Rogers in motion, ran to the opposite side. Did they get enough? Looks very close and doesn't appear as though they have the first down. So potential 4th down decision coming up. It will be 4th and a little over a yard.
And I thought before they brought Rogers in motion, they had an opportunity with Wright out in the flat. And once again, that's the matchup that they talked about was very favorable, that they wanted to have. When they could get a back on a safety, they wanted to get the ball to their backs.
Ball State substitutes in their 3rd down package. Holst rolls out. Good coverage downfield. 1-on-1. Nearly intercepted again. It will be a turnover on downs.
And you didn't need all of that. All you needed was 3 yards. Go for the short pass. I thought he had a quick opportunity to get it to Telly Johnson, but he needed to get it to him right now. Get it to him right now. Telly, you've got to turn your head and help your quarterback get the ball right then, and then you have a one-on-one opportunity with the defender. So I think that's on both players. Telly did not turn his head around quickly, and then this is an underthrown ball, but they were running out of space. He tried to get it to Givens on the outside, but you didn't need all of that. All you needed was 2 yards right right there. I thought getting it to Telly initially, right when Telly comes out in the flat, but Telly has to help him turn your head around. Understand that they're bringing pressure on your quarterback. And if he doesn't get it to Telly, then maybe he keeps it and turns up the field. But I didn't think they had to try and get it all on that play, as long as they tried to do with the long play right there.
Kyle Kelly steps back up here as the offense comes back out. The Ball State defensively got their best cover cornerback this week in Will Yates, and he made a great play on Givens that time on a play that, like you said, had a very slim window to be executed. Another injured player down here on the O-line here for Ball State. Looks like Chris Hood on the left side. There's 6'10" left tackle. Now he drops back to the ground, and training staff will come out.
Oh no, my big fella. And that's one of the dangers. You have to hope that he didn't get rolled up on.
I tried to get up and couldn't. We'll take another look back at it. Try to see what happened to Chris Hood here. Oh yeah, you're right. Got rolled up.
And that's usually what happens with an offensive lineman. One of the things you have to do as a lineman is you've always got to play sitting down on your hips. You want to keep your feet moving because of all the action that's going on behind you, because it's very easy to get rolled up on. So we hope he's going to be okay. He was able to get up and stand up initially on it. You hope he's going to be okay, but it's one of those tough things to avoid because you don't know a lot of the time what's going on behind you. He's got those knee braces on, so that's good, and he's walking off without any help. So it's good to see the big fella being able to get off the field.
It was Erweiler who inadvertently rolled up behind him, making the tackle.
But what's crazy, you take him off the field and you replace him with the 6'9"
Adam Dolan. So just drop down 1 inch.
Yeah, I mean, so you've got some big men on that side of the football field protecting the quarterback's backside.
Dolan was at Butler with Mike Uremovich, his prior coaching stop before taking the head coaching job at Ball State. Mentioned Quinn Erweiler had the tackle on that last play, came into today with 83 on the season, leading everyone in the MAC in that category. Kelly will check it down. That near side was caught by Quay Ashley. He gets dragged down. Erweiler was up there to make the tackle again. There was a flag on the field. Maturowski there as well.
Personal foul, hands to the face, offense number 56. 15-yard penalty, replay second down. Number 97 for the defense can remain in the game due to the helmet coming off via foul.
That's Isaac Lucas, and then you hear the exception of Ward Williams being able to stay in the game. There's hands to the face, helmet coming off.
And you see right there what you've got to do if you're Lucas, you've got to keep your hands down in the breastplate of the shoulder pads. You cannot get your hands up in the face mask. It's a hand fight. It's a boxing match inside those trenches, but you've got to keep those hands down in the breastplate.
Second and 22. These kind of second and long, third and long situations were actually a plus for Ball State last week. Primarily in part to the legs of Kyle Kelly. Gets dragged down pretty quickly there. They've done a solid job of tackling him and bringing him down when he's decided to run it.
Well, the one thing they've done is they've not given him a lot of lanes. He's been able to get some yards running through the middle of that defense, but one of the things that makes him special is on broken plays or when he's scrambling and he makes plays with his feet. And that's when he's to the outside where there's more space for him to be a playmaker. But running in the middle of that defense, like you said, Jason, they've done a good job of getting hands on him and getting him down and not allowing him to get going.
Erweiler stepping up, calling out signals to his defense here. Now Kelly goes one-on-one. There's some bumping and grinding down the sideline, and the flag comes out. The intended target was Donovan Hamilton. Davion Reynolds was matched up with him.
And if Reynolds turns around to try to locate the football, they don't make this call, but he's running through the receiver the whole time. The receiver can't make a play, can't get to the football. You see the receiver's trying to get over to the football, but you see Reynolds has his eyes on the receiver. You've got to turn around Hamilton is trying to make his way towards the ball. And that's one of the things they've caught the young defensive backs doing a couple of times this afternoon, not turning around to locate the football.
Yeah, that had never turned back, plus territory for Ball State. 1-on-1 again, same side. Incomplete this time, looking for McDougal.
And if you saw on that play, you could hear the sideline for Northern Illinois screaming, ball, 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 trying to tell him to turn around and locate the football. A better job that time. He ran through the receiver again, but his eyes were towards the football. The officials won't make that call if your eyes are towards the football because he has just as much right to the ball as the receiver.
And Reynolds is matched up with Magwood this time, so third time in 3 plays against a different target. This time Ball State will run it, though. Right up the middle, Coy Ashley trying to get some of that yardage back. Ashley was phenomenal last week, 143 yards on the ground against Akron, 20 carries. Has a really fun personality as well, keeps the levity in the locker room. 3rd and 6 coming up. Interesting part of the field, too, with how much Ball State is willing to run it on 3rd down situations.
I look at this as 4-down territory right here.
That's what I was thinking. They'll throw it. Kelly has to step up, and he gets bottled up. So now here comes that 4th down decision.
And they're playing mind games with Kelly. They showed 7 at the line of scrimmage when he snapped the football. They dropped 3 back into coverage in that intermediate area. He did not have anywhere to go at the football. Actually, that was a good job by Kelly not trying to throw it. You see right there. Now you see all 3 of those guys drop into coverage, into zone coverage, in the intermediate area that Kelly thought he had an opportunity to go with the football. A good job by Kelly taking what the defense gives him. But those are the mind games that you have to play with the quarterback, the pre-snap and post-snap mind games by that defense.
It's going to be a 45-yard field goal attempt for Carson Homer. Trying to give Ball State the lead. And that is off the mark. So we remain tied. 7-7 with 7 minutes to go in the half. This is the culture that head coach Thomas Hammock has helped build the hard way, is the mentality. This season hasn't been easy, of course. 1-6, now 6 straight losses since the season opening win against Holy Cross. In some of those games, deceptive. They were close at Maryland second half. Mississippi State played a great first half. San Diego State after that lost in a game-winning field goal. But that personification of perseverance is what they're trying to embody this week In a 7-7 game, locked in a game that's going to be battled that way, the hard way, as Beebe comes up with a tackle that time.
And he talked about it, Jason. He said his team practices as if they were 7-0. They practicing like they're getting ready and preparing themselves to play for a conference championship. And that's the attitude that you have to continue to have.
You go to the ground this time. Once again, Lazaro Rogers, first time we've seen him. True freshman back. Really versatile, can block as well. Kind of next in line amongst that group of running backs for them. They've been seeing progress offensively, the physicality up front. You can tell they're getting back to it this week after they were losing in that physical category against Ohio a week ago. Third down, though. Host with 4 targets, got a block, has to pump. Not a situation they usually thrive in. Host, not known as a runner, picks it up here, has a lot with his legs, inside of Ball State territory, down inside of the 30. Couple of pump fakes and a highlight reel run for Josh Host, pulling some tricks out of his bag there.
And there's a lot to unpack from this play. What they did was they put Siobhan Wright in motion. They saw they had coverage with the linebacker. That's where he wanted to go initially with the football. But the linebacker did a good job of covering Wright, and Holtz did a better job of faking with the ball, taking what the defense gives him, breaking tackles, and then getting around the edge. Not just getting the first down, but getting all the yards he possibly could.
It's a gain of 36 yards. Take a look back at it here. Couple of dance moves for us, and then he let it loose.
Now you see right here, he wants to go to right, but right is covered up, so he ball fakes right there. He squeezes, he breaks a couple of tackles. Now he has the first down right here. He can slide, but you see him right here. No, I'm going to get to the outside, get around the edge, and get an additional 25 yards.
They keep it on the ground here. That's that kind of chip on the shoulder mentality that Holst has as a former walk-on, always feeling as though he is proving himself. He's not going to go down and slide if he doesn't have to.
Well, as an offensive lineman, it gets you fired up too when your quarterback does that, because it makes you want to fire off the football and hit somebody in the mouth. So you got to love that as an offensive lineman when you see your quarterback willing to give it up for the team and get as many yards as possible and not slide.
Under 5 to go in the half. All of a sudden, he's got him knocking on the door here. Didn't score the last time they were in the red zone to an interception. Host to the air here. Will let it fly down the sideline. Dangerously broken up. Are there some of these plays, though, for us down in the red zone where you maybe want to live to fight another day?
Once again, I want to see them get the ball out early. I think right here, you see him trying to get his receiver to go up the field. If he puts a little more air under the football, maybe the receiver can run under it. But you've got Derek Fields, number 15, closing. So I think that's what he saw, and that's why he didn't put the air under the football. But at the same time, I would like to see them get the ball to a back initially, right at the snap of the football, when he's got man-on-man coverage on the outside.
We'll go back to right. There's Will Yates on that last play, who, again, their best cover corner for Ball State back. And he has looked really good today.
No, go 3 wides on one side of the field. Leave the other side of the field open where you've got a safety matched up on your back. They've looked and they talked about that matchup, but you've got to create that matchup with your formation and then take advantage of it when you create it.
So with that, you want to try to isolate the backer?
Yes. No, I want to isolate the safety on the back.
They'll run it here. Johnson up the middle. And looks like the ball came out. It's going to be Ball State football. Starks emerges out of the pack with it. Turnover once again down in this part of the field. Back-to-back times down inside of the 25 of Ball State. The Northern Illinois has turned it over.
You've got to squeeze. The ball just came out. A good job by number 6 to get his hand in there, Caden Johnson, and strip that ball. Right there, you see number 6, Caden Johnson. He's able to get in there and strip that ball out. The back has to do a better job of squeezing that football. You've got to bring that ball high and tight to your body. Telly Johnson, you've got to understand it. They're pulling and tugging and punching at the football. You're always taught to hold it high and tight.
So Kyle Kelly, again in this offense, gifted another possession by their defense, forcing a turnover.
And as an offense, you cannot allow this to demoralize you if you're Ball State. You're moving the football very effectively. but you've just had 2 miscues inside the 20-yard line, inside the red zone, but you've been able to move the ball effectively. So you've got to focus on that positiveness. Now you got to hope the defense can go out and hold again, but at the same time, you've got something positive to talk about.
It's those subtle differences, slim margin of error, and Mac play that gets you, though, down the stretch. There's a reason why this league is decided by such few points every season. Standings are tight right now. Ball State trying to get to 3-1 in conference play today. They're running like they know that. Quay Ashley on the carry.
A very patient run by Ashley, allowing the blocks to develop, getting to the outside, planting, getting north and south, and getting positive yards.
There's a gain of 12. Approaching 2:42 to go in the second quarter. You have the 2-minute timeout and all 3 timeouts.
And one of the things Coach Hammock talked about with his team is learning to disengage. They're right there, but they've got to be able to disengage from those offensive linemen and make the tackle.
Still have time and the timeouts to play your style. You wonder if they call one of the timeouts before the 2-minute timeout or save all 3 for after the 2-minute timeout.
I think they're going to, use that 2-minute timeout, and then if they'll try and get one more play.
Second down.
Trying to wind it down here. So hit the 2-minute timeout, 7-7. And a big 2-minute drill on the horizon for Kyle Kelly, the 5th-year senior QB, trying to guide his team down the field. Welcome back. You're watching the MAC on ESPN Plus. These games coming up next week. Central Michigan, Western Michigan, a chance to be a big matchup next week. Central Michigan has UMass today. Western Michigan, massive matchup against Miami. Buffalo, another unbeaten in conference play right now. 3-0. Miami 3-0, and Western Michigan 3-0 at the moment. But all that could change this afternoon. College football as unpredictable as ever as we get potentially a late hit here for us. There was a flag on that near side where the hit took place. Wonder if Ashley already had feet on the white before he was hit.
And these are the mental errors that you cannot make, because now you not only extend the drive, you give them an opportunity to try and put points on the board, because you're flipping the field more so with this penalty.
That's a play where I think there would have been no gain there.
Well,
instead, it looks like it's going to be a hold.
Holding. Offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
and that's interesting because it looked like they could have gotten that penalty as well. But what you saw right there was a good job by the defense from Northern Illinois keeping the edge. So you see right there, you see the hold right there at the bottom of the screen, but a good job keeping the edge. Now see right here, let's see.
Yeah, there was the drive late, definitely.
Yes, that could have been called as well. I think they got away. And the way the official threw that flag, it looked like that's what the flag was for, because the official is looking down at the ball carrier right there, not where the hole was called.
Yeah, interesting call. There's a 2nd and 18 coming up. It's a big call. It drops you back to 2nd and 18 with 1:55 left.
And now if you're Northern, if you can get a stop on this play,
you start to think you have 3 timeouts. The Northern scoring drive was 3 plays, minute and 3 seconds. Thanks in large part to the 53-yard run from Telly Johnson. This has felt like MAC football today. The weather's feeling like MAC football. The hats and scarves are out. This crowd trying to implore a stop. Kyle Kelly saw a crease up the middle. Great tackle from Erweiler, the MAC's leader in tackles, able to drag him down.
You see Northern Illinois take the timeout. But a good job by Kelly. Design quarterback run on that play. You saw linebackers crashing downhill. A good job reading, taking what the defense gives you.
Wheeler got there.
And Quinn Erweiler ran in there and allowed himself to get blocked. You've got to be slippery. As a linebacker, one of the hardest things to do is to block a slippery linebacker, a guy that can get small. It's called getting small, turning those shoulders. I remember practicing with a guy named Derek Brooks. Very difficult to block. He wasn't the biggest, strongest guy in the world, but he knew how to get skinny. And that's what you teach linebackers when they're coming downhill. Get skinny. Don't allow those linemen to cover you up, because all they need to do is get on top of you, and that allows the back to cut off of them.
See Kyle Kelly's numbers on the day. They need a big 3rd down conversion here. Gonna loft this up down the sideline, incomplete. So punting unit coming out with 1:43 to go. Still plenty of time for Northern Illinois.
And because of the incompletion, the clock does not run. A good job by the defense from Northern Illinois. And what you saw was Coach Hammett coaching. Although Ball State didn't make the play, the safety was late getting over there. So that is what you call making sure your guy understands the importance of being where you need to be, because the next time that happens, it may be a better thrown ball. You know, your DB may get beat on the outside, and you want to make sure you've got that bracket coverage, that safety over the top.
Deary Rogers going to try to return this punt, and he gets dragged down at about the 16. 1:32 left until halftime. We'll take a look around the MAC. Week 8 top plays as well. First half highlights, first half stats. Coming up here from Husky Stadium in DeKalb.
Now the danger with this right now is you've got these pass rushers, Conley and Voorhees, off the edge for Ball State. They're going to pin their ears back, and they're going to come after the quarterback, because they know that Northern is going to want to get the ball vertically down the field.
They'll bring 4 here to try to stop the run. Voorhees on the tackle there. The guy who entered today 2nd in the nation in sacks with 9. There's Nathan Voorhees. Every Monday is the off day for Ball State players. He's inevitably in the office every Monday. watching film to get ready for each week's opponent. Always pays off for him week by week. 1:05 left in this half. Clock ticking down inside of a minute. Nice snap, brought down defense already once again. Voorhees down to the bottom of the pile once again.
Interesting, we're not seeing a sense of urgency at all from Northern Illinois.
Now it looks like right now the body language would say they're content to go into the half. Battle for the Bronze Stalk. Been played for since 2008. Youngest rivalry in the MAC. Two teams that know about tight matchups, looking like they might be tied going into the half.
And maybe Northern Illinois' thought process is we get the ball the second half to start the second half. Let's just play it safe. Ball deep in our own territory. Maybe if they've gotten a pretty good, punt return, they would be more offensively trying to be vertical and get the ball down the field and get in the scoring position. You have to think that that's what their thinking is right now.
Can't overemphasize that you're a couple yards away from a 14-0 lead if you're Northern Illinois. Then they, throw the interception, got back down inside the 25 of Ball State again on their last series and fumbled. So Voorhees comes up with another play. He's got 3 big tackles on this series. But Northern Illinois twice in this opening half. Chances inside of the Ball State 25 that resulted in turnovers. Credit the Ball State defense for that. But something Husky fans hoping they won't be looking back on at the end of this one in a season that has had a very slim margin for error. In a conference, of course, that has a very slim margin for error. Still have 44 seconds left here.
Well, you said it. Mental miscues have been the key. That was a poorly thrown pass. Maybe, Holtz shouldn't have thrown that pass. He's got to see and read the defense and see the defense wasn't giving him the lane that he needed to throw that pass and the way through that pass. And then, Telly Johnson not holding the ball high and tight and allowing for Caden Johnson to reach in there and punch that ball out. The thing that hurt, both of those are inside the red zone. The interception, they're inside the 5-yard line. I think you should run the football right there.
Denny Vukovic going to punt here. Lewis back to return, creeps up for a fair catch at the 46. Ball State entering last week against Akron wanted more explosive plays. That was the top of their priority list. They produced that. Still 38 seconds left. You wonder, with how they have been willing to loft the ball up and go at one-on-one matchups, maybe they tossed it up here with still 38 seconds left, 3 timeouts.
Well, you look at those explosive plays last week. Ashley, 69-yard run. Kelly, 33-yard run. Gross, 42-yard catch. Cassins, a 37-yard catch. So they got those chunk plays last week. That's something that they need right here. They've got to get a chunk play. Try and get the ball in scoring position.
Looking for it. Kelly dragged down from behind. Takes a hit. Looks like forward progress stopped at the 50. Ball State sideline didn't like the finish of the drive after the whistles. Roy Williams playing to the whistle. And now clock is ticking down inside of 20 seconds. They've got to hurry up. Not much time to talk to the officials. Clock at 10. 4 threats downfield. Good coverage downfield, though. Clock at 4. And Kelly just going to throw that away with 1 second left.
And not good clock time management by Ball State on that drive. I think you should have used one of your timeouts. Too much time came off the clock after that play where Kelly ran the football.
You were given,
can't take the timeout, switch it in the second half. Use it.
You're right. Might as well. You were given the explosive play notes from last week. Can never help but notice how amazing your handwriting is, Forrest. You're always ready to rock and roll. Your notes are clear as day. The play just didn't live up to it there, but you teed it up perfectly. 1 second left. There's a flag.
I used to get teased about that, Jason. About my handwriting.
Offense,
That's
number
perfection.
1. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Northern Illinois drops way back in coverage. Kelly being stalked, and he will just run out of bounds, add some rushing yards to his stats. But nothing more than that. 7-7 after 2 quarters. Felt like MAC football. It's a big game in the MAC. Ball State an opportunity to get to 3-1. Northern Illinois desperately needs a victory on their home field. 7 apiece after 2 quarters in DeKalb. Seven all at the half here in DeKalb. Ball State in Northern Illinois. Jason Ross Jr., Forrest Connolly. Welcoming you back to the half here on ESPN Plus. Really big matchup in the standings as Ball State tries to move to 3-1 in conference play. Really big day all around in the MAC. You see QB comparisons so far to this point. Not too many passes thrown between the two. When they have been thrown, they have been in impactful moments. The one glaring thing for Holst that has impacted the scoreboard, the interception.
Well, you've got to give him some safe confidence builder throws. I think getting the ball out to your backs in the flat will be something that's safe, that's a confidence builder. Some short crossing routes where you've got those linebackers crashing downhill from Ball State. Those are opportunities to get some of those intermediate throws. I don't like the throws that they've asked from him this afternoon. I think you got to get him something safe. Kelly's doing what he does. He runs the ball very effectively. He's had some good passes. I like to see that percentage raise. 40%, that's not what you want to see from a guy of his caliber.
Two offenses predicated on the run. You see there, both QBs have more rushing yards than passing yards so far to this point. We'll be back here from DeKalb. Time now to take a look and listen at the sights and sounds of the top 10 plays in the MAC from Week 8.
got this strawberry cream with stuffed with strawberry cream.
Shit, yeah.
Oh,
That sounds great. My best friend from college lives in Athens. Next time I go visit him, I'd be like, hey, take me so over to Peach Burger.
Subline.
Now I'm in, man. Like,
it's right.
now
It's right
I
in
want
the
to
middle
know.
of Georgia. It's called Subline.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's in Atlanta. Yeah.
And it's open 24 hours.
Hell yeah, man. That's great, man.
That's the craziest thing about it.
7-7 getting set to begin the second half here in DeKalb. Jason Ross Jr., Forrest Connolly. Things got started very quickly. Opening series for Northern Illinois after the defense forced the 3 and out. There's Telly Johnson Jr. going 53 big yards to get the party started.
Well, he did a good job of bouncing it to the outside, and then when he got to the outside, he showed you the speed to get to the end zone, and that is just what the doctor ordered, that physicality that Coach Hammock was looking for from his team early with the offensive line. But here, a bad choice, a bad decision by Holst, and I thought the coaching staff put him in a bad way. I thought they should have continued to run the football. They were running it very effectively. They gotten the ball down deep inside the red zone, going in for a 14-0 score. And then here, you see the quarterback doing a good job, Kelly, finding his tight end in the back of the end zone, Drew Cassins. Everyone came crashing down. They did not play their form of defense, and he was able to get behind those guys and get the easy score.
Gary Rogers and Davion Reynolds back to return here for Northern Illinois. Out to the 20-yard line. That is where this opening possession will start. Huskies were content to go into the half 7-7, knowing they would get it to begin this third quarter.
You know, Jason, that was interesting that they were content. They had 3 timeouts. They had an opportunity, or 2 timeouts left. They had an opportunity, I thought, to try and get the ball, go for a big play or two, try and get vertical, see if you can get, a chunk play or two, and possibly put a field goal, together, a field goal attempt together. I was surprised, and I get it. They get the ball coming out in the second half, but you got to try and get points on the board.
See if the quarterbacks can find a rhythm through the air as well. Both QBs had more rushing yards than passing yards through 2 quarters. They'll hand it off patiently, probing is right. And Telly Johnson Jr. and Shavon Wright both eclipsed over 60 yards running in the first half for Northern Illinois' backfield.
And that has been the bread and butter for this offense all afternoon, running the football effectively between the tackles, allowing those big guys to get downhill, and when they get the opportunity, bouncing it to the outside.
Another run right up the middle. Alfred Shea on the tackle. Short gain on 2nd and 5. That opening series for Northern Illinois' offense did have balance in terms of looking to go to the air, looking to go to the ground. Kept Ball State's defense honest. You're wondering how much pressure they would just bring and make Holst throw it. On 3rd and 3, Holst will throw it here over the middle, get checked down. Is it enough for a first down? Will be the question mark as they push the pile.
And the question is, did he clear the sticks when he turned around and looked at the football?
It is going to be 4th and very short. Right now, offense staying out there.
And they're going with that Wildcat.
At their own 32. See if they snap it. They do. Direct snap. Voorhees got in to try to make the tackle quickly. Where are they marking it? Looks like enough for a first down. Needed a half inch.
That play was made by Shavon Wright because Voorhees was right there. And if he doesn't break that tackle, that's going to be a play for a loss. Wright made that play. Watch right here. I don't like the ball fake. You've got to get it and go because you know they're coming downhill. There's no reason to ball fake. You're in the Wildcat offense. You're going to run the football. I didn't like the ball fake, Jason.
They run it again here, get a few more yards. Good chunk play on first down. Not many guys slip out of the grasp of Nathan Voorhees. He was somehow able to do that to get enough on a somewhat risky decision in a 7-7 game at your own 32-yard line to go for it there. They do, and it pays off. 9-yard gain on the ensuing run. Ashton Winter with that last tackle. They'll fake it to Johnson this time. Holst under pressure. Flag goes flying. This should be a hold.
I think they're going to get Landon Roan on that play, the center. Let's give it to the left guard.
Holding, offense number 63. 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
and forced. It was DeJuan Eccles, known for his pass rushing ability, that forced that hold.
Well, what he did was he turned his shoulders, and for an offensive lineman, what you've got to do, especially those interior linemen, is sit down in your stance. You've got to keep your shoulders square, and if they beat you to the edge, then you just take them where they want to go and drive them down the line of scrimmage. You're not going to get the perfect pass block every time when you get inside hands, so you drive them away and allow the quarterback to play off of you.
But backs this up to 2nd and 11. Huskies have done a good job of staying ahead of the sticks so far in this game. Johnson Jr. slipped out of a tackle on the edge. It's so tough to bring down. It even looked like Michael Gravely had him wrapped up. You're going to see on the replay here.
And you see, watch how he steps out of this tackle right here. They've got him wrapped up right there, but you've got to hold on. You've got to hold on. You see him step out of it. That's a powerful ball carrier right there. We look at what Johnson's ability to do to step out of that would-be tackler's arms and still get 2 to 3 yards and then take a lick and kind of look at the defensive player, Ashton Whitner, like, no, I'm still not going down.
Hold on for dear life. A 3rd and 9 here. Good protection, good throw. Rodgers on the reception. Oh, what a move. De'Aaron Rodgers spinning his way inside of the 45. The yak for Rodgers prolongs that play, and they get the first down and more.
And a good job by Holst realizing that they left Rodgers up. You see the safety has Rodgers, but he drops deep back into coverage, and that's what makes Rodgers such a dangerous player. He can get over the top of the defense, but his ability to make yards after the catch.
22-yard gain, scoots around Gravely there. This run will pick up a couple, but that's what De'Aaron Rodgers does. They call him kind of the short burst guy in space. He has dinner every Thursday with his QB, Josh Holst, establishing that chemistry. Those two are great friends. If they're looking to go for someone on 3rd and 9, it's likely him.
And he's such a scary cover because of the ability to climb up on a DB and get separation. So those guys are always backing up, trying to give a cushion, not allowing him to climb up on him. But when you do that, he's got those underneath throws.
2nd and 7 handoff here. Knifing his way through traffic, goes right.
And this is where Northern Illinois wants to be. This opens up the playbook because now you don't have these defenders that can just pin their ears back and come after the quarterback, because this is an opportunity for them to throw the short pass game or look to get vertical.
They brought Taylor in motion, run up the middle, created space. Now Wright making moves down inside of the red zone. Another 3rd down conversion.
And you see when you bring that player in motion, it gets the eyes of the defensive backs and the linebackers on him. And that's that sweet spot that you're creating.
Last 2 3rd downs, Northern Illinois has picked up 22 yards and 18 yards. First and 10, high snap, right back to the ground game, and why not?
And I hate to say it, but now we're getting to that danger zone area. The last 2 times they've been inside the 20-yard line, they've had some mental miscues.
You put the deja vu out there. The fans here hoping it doesn't percolate into manifesting to reality. Last 2 times, though, like you said, an interception and a fumble that they've been down inside of the 20 of Ball State. This could be a different football game if not for those turnovers. Can they capitalize this time? Holst will hand it off. Johnson inside of the 10 he goes.
And a good job by the offensive lineman getting movement at the point of attack, climbing up to those 2nd-level defenders, covering those guys up. The guards and the tackles are doing a good job of the tandem blocks, coming off of those blocks and getting up to those 2nd-level defenders.
Substitutions being made on both sides. Offense substituted, so have to let the defense substitute. Two teams that do a lot of substituting. A lot of guys rotating in and out. Holst another high snap. Johnson Jr. going to take it again down to about the 6 on 1st and goal.
There's been a couple of high snaps that Holst has done a good job of getting his hands on. He needs to talk to the center and let the center know.
You mentioned it right as you get kind of edgy in this territory. Don't want to give up the football again.
And a lot of times when the center's getting those high snaps, because the center's thinking about firing off. So that's all that adrenaline when you're looking to get up to your assignment. A lot of times the center's climbing up to those second-level defenders. So he's trying to get a good push. So in doing that, you're also firing that ball back to the quarterback.
Looking to throw it. Opong, the tight end, the only one in the vicinity, just had to throw it out of bounds. Wondering if they would test the DBs again one-on-one, which they haven't done a ton. Interesting choice there. Brings it now 3rd and goal. And you're at the 7-yard line. So what are you calling here?
I'm running the football. I want to play it safe. You've been able to gash him with the run. And you're trying to see if you can get to the end zone. I don't want to put Holst in a bad position. If I'm going to throw the ball, it's going to be to a back in the flat. You know, a quick pass to allow my back to be a playmaker in the open field.
They flex the back out to the top of the screen and right, and then Holst runs it that way. He might have a touchdown. He does. Josh Holst puts the Huskies back in front.
And I absolutely love the play call. You go with an empty backfield, you spread the defense out, you pull your guard and your tackle, and you allow your quarterback to follow him up the alley.
Andrew Glass on for the extra point. And he's got it. Huskies go marching down the field. Holst caps it off by finding the end zone. 14-7 NIU. Welcome back. 14-7, 7:26 to go in the 3rd quarter. Josh Holst doing it with his legs to finish off that last drive that was able to stem the tide of that trend of turnovers in the red zone. Punched it home. You see his numbers so far today.
And that drive took 7 minutes and 36 seconds. They consumed a lot of clock. They ran with their tempo. They played a physical brand of football, running the ball up the gut of that defense. They got the ball to the playmaker Rogers on the outside to allow him to make a play. Good job spreading the ball around. And I love the play call to get the touchdown, pulling those guards and allowing the quarterback to follow him up the alley.
You talk about a late October Northern Illinois drive down the field. 7 minutes and 30 seconds, 15 plays. Fits the billing. gives him a 14-7 lead. Now can Ball State answer? Possibly a returnable kick here for JoJo Lewis. He will get a crease out to the 40. We'll take a break. 7:19 to go. Pretty good field position for Kyle Kelly and the offense when we come back after a 36-yard return. (14-7), Northern Illinois up. 7:19 to go in this third quarter. You see on the sideline there, going through the review process, as all teams do, looking at the tablets. 18 allowed on each sideline. You see going a little deeper dive, though. Mac partnering with Apple, bringing this updated technology to the tablets this year. All the different things you can do. A little Telestrator for you there, Forrest. Different toys to play with for the coaches.
Well, it gives you a real-world idea and a real-world look back at plays, and it allows for the quarterback, for instance, to really get back into the play and be able to see some of the things he may have missed when the play was actually live.
All the real-time video tools. Pile moving here up to about the 46-yard line. So pretty good field position to start here for Kyle Kelly and the Ball State offense. What have you liked out of them today? What would you want to see improve?
Well, I like what they've done as far as moving the football, running the football. I want to see Kelly be able to pass the ball down the field. We haven't seen that vertical passing game from him. He's got some very reliable receivers with Mac, Wood, and Gross, but he's not been able to get the ball to those two guys this afternoon. I think Northern Illinois has done a good job of kind of keeping him bottled up as far as the pass game goes, but he has run the ball effectively.
Go to Quay Ashley, try to get some balance here. Might be enough for a first down. Quay Ashley was really locked in practice last week, leading up to his excellent game against Akron. Coach Craig Harmon, who handles a lot of the offense, said he felt the breeze of Ashley go by him on the opening play, which was a wide zone run. And from that point on, he knew he was going to have a great day. Today, Northern Illinois' defensive line definitely is tackled better than Akron did a week ago. So a little harder to slip in and out of tackles.
What they've done a good job, too, of is not giving up the big play. We talked about it earlier. All the big plays that Ball State made last week, all the big chunk plays. You know, they have not given up a bunch of those, and they've done a good job of just keeping them contained, keeping everything in front of them.
Ashley, that time, Forrest, I mean, you know it, playing this game, he looked up with all the grass in front of him before he actually hauled the football in.
And you see him patting himself on the chest. He knows that he messed up on that play. And just what they designed. You know, you want to get the ball to your playmakers out of space. That's something I thought we would see on the other side of the football with Holst and some of the playmakers he has on the outside. Get the ball out. It's an extension of the run, but you get those guys out in space one-on-one, and that's where they can be most effective.
Nice and quick. Maybe got to give some credit to the footsteps of Quinn Erweiler as well, the leading tackler of the MAC. Could hear him coming. Empty backfield this time for Kelly. Steps up, slipped out of one tackle, cuts it back. Ended up running into the arms of Mark Hensley after picking up a decent chunk.
And Kelly had an opportunity right there to go vertical with the passing game. I thought he gave up on it a little bit too quick right there. He had time. I think he could have stood back in the pocket a little bit longer and then delivered the ball down the field. As a quarterback, you've got to be confident that your offensive linemen are going to be able to maintain those blocks.
Crowd noise really ramping up on third down. They've got Kelly flushed. Sidearm throw, though, to Ashley. Oh, back-to-back weeks that Kyle Kelly has pulled the sidearm sling out of his bag.
And that's that demoralizing quarterback scramble that they talked about, him being a playmaker. You see him getting to the outside, avoiding all of those pass rushers. And you see the ability to throw a strike down the field with the sidearm to his receiver coming across. And that's what you have to do if you're Ashley. You've got to help your quarterback out. Come to him. You see him in distress. Come to him and give him a target to throw the football.
His dad, Kenny, played baseball. He got World Series tonight. He has all the arm pockets to throw out of. You can see it there. He's going to launch one here down the sideline and incomplete.
Oh, he missed one right there. He had Ty Robinson streaking down the seam. He went with the ball fake, the safety bid on it. Ty Robinson, number 2, is going down the seam. He threw it to the outside. I thought he had an opportunity right there to get it to Ty Robinson.
Brings up what feels like a pretty big 2nd and 10, this spot of the field. Crowd senses the urgency. Ball State, that is his offense only averaging 7 points per game on the road, having won on the road this year. Can feel the sense of urgency from them on this drive, too. Slipping up as Kelly just lost his footing. Turf Monster got him before Roy Williams could get there.
And a part of that is the push from the defensive line. Cameron Anthony, number 85, got pushed into the backfield. And he is the one that Kelly tripped up on. He tripped up on his own tight end. So you don't always make the big play, the big tackle. But what you do is when you get that push, you push those guys back into the backfield. And that allowed for Kelly to trip up on his own man.
Third down, pressure comes. Kelly steps up over the middle, dangerously picked off. Floated it up there, and it is intercepted. Northern Illinois will take back over. James Finley had an INT last week, and the true freshman has another this week.
And you know what was important about that interception is it would have been 4th down if he doesn't make that interception, and I think they're going to go for it. So that was an important interception by him. Overthrow. Kelly overthought this play. He had immediate pressure. They brought the blitz. They picked up the blitz. But you see Kelly flushed out of the pocket trying to make a play. But that is not where you want to go at the football. There was no offensive player back there to try and make a play on it. A good job by Finley tracking that football. And as great as Kelly can be making plays with his feet and some of the decision making, you can also hurt your team trying to make a big play when it's not there.
Holst will hand it off. Johnson the run, trying to feed off that momentum. But Northern Illinois had the dream start today. Defense came out with a stop in a quick 53-yard run for Johnson. Been a defensive battle since then. 2 missed opportunities in the red zone. Last drive, though, they do capitalize in the red zone to go in front 14-7. The question mark on this season has been closing out games as we near the 4th quarter, 3:13 to go in the 3rd. For Ball State, they flipped around their season. only scored 3 points through the first 2 weeks of the season. Then it clicked offensively last week as Johnson gets spiraled down in a battle which has fit the narrative of this rivalry. 3 of the last 4 meetings decided by a last-second field goal. You can feel it in late October in the MAC right now. Ball State looking to get to 3-1 in the standings. Ohio and Central Michigan trying to do the same thing today. It's going to be airtight into November, into action. Crease opens up. Crevice of traffic to slip through. Trying to get skinny through those holes. This slew of running backs in the rotation. It's Shavon Wright this time. He picks up 11 yards.
And you see the physicality, once again, by that offensive line, firing out the football with flat backs, getting up to those second-level defenders, getting a hat on a hat.
Right back to the ground game. This is the tempo that Northern Illinois worked on in practice this week. They wanted to be faster. You can see Host calling out signals, getting up to his own line quickly. They worked on this very deliberately throughout the course of the week. Quick again this time. And at this point of the game, Forrest, if you can do that and rack up first downs, you start to put pressure on the fatigue aspect of this game for Ball State's defense.
But this is a key play in this drive right here. Because Northern Illinois made a substitution, you allow for Ball State to get the time to get a whole new defensive line in. Now, Nathan Voorhees stays in the ball game, but all of the other defensive linemen came out.
Voorhees is never leaving the field. It doesn't matter what down it is. Third down, they bring the heat. And it's Voorhees right on cue. Huge hit. Second in the nation in sacks. That's number 10 on the season.
And that is strictly on the offensive tackle. He opened up those outside shoulders. You've got to kick back. You've got to get those 3 kick steps back, but you've got to be square. Watch the tackle number 77. See, he opened that outside shoulder. He gave him a short corner. That is what you cannot do as an offensive tackle. You've got to get 3 kick steps. He put his head down. You've got to punch. You've got to hand fight, but you've got to keep those shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. Once you turn and open up that outside shoulder, you give a short corner, and with a pass rusher like Voorhees, he's going to get there every time.
High punt, fair catch signaled. Oh, it was muffed! Trying to pounce on it, who has this? Ball was live. Entire crowd here at Husky Stadium on their feet, pointing to the left, and now the officials point to the left. It is Husky football. Wow, what a turn of events. Momentum swinging right back to NIU. Well, initially thought we were going to be saying it was Ball State football coming back, but it is not after the muffed punt. Calls for the fair catch. This is JoJo Lewis, bounces right off his chest for us.
And it looked like he took his eyes off the ball right when it got to him. And a good job by Preto covering the football. And that's why it's so important to get down the field. Once you hear the ball come off the punter's foot, your next job is to get down the field and cover the punt. And you see all of the Northern Illinois players right there. You've got 4 Northern Illinois players right there to cover that football up.
There have been some tough fair catches in this game when it comes to judging the football. It's not like the sun is a factor today, and not an overly windy day where the ball's drifting around, but tough fair catches, and that one got a little too tough, and Preto, who got injured earlier in the game, pounces on it. Now, can Northern Illinois pounce on what looks like a golden opportunity to go up 2 possessions?
Run the football. That is where you've been successful.
You're like, let me reinforce that after what happened earlier. The last time they had a chance to take a 2-possession lead, they threw an interception in the red zone. They fake the pass, go to the run up the middle. It's right again, trying to squeak through traffic. He gets dragged down. One of multiple backs for Northern Illinois today, up over 60 yards rushing.
And that's what you want to do, Jason. Stay in front of the sticks right there. Get 5 yards. 2nd and 5. Now you open up the offense. If you want to try something to the outside, you can. If you want to still try and gash them down the middle, the gut of that defense, you can as well.
4s are up. 4th quarter on the horizon. 7-point game. Can Ball State get a big defensive stop here with their backs against the wall in this rivalry matchup? So the surprise around the MAC today, Buffalo escaped last week. They don't escape this week, 24-16. Akron gets the victory, so Buffalo no longer unbeaten in conference play. See Central Michigan up there on UMass. UMass staring down the barrel of remaining winless, and Western Michigan trying to hang on, especially considering Buffalo just lost to try to get to 4-0 in MAC play. And right now, Northern Illinois trying to pounce on the momentum of that muffed punt. As we flip sides of the field, they go back to the ground. Shavon Wright, who's up to 130 yards on the ground today. Telly Johnson Jr. has 97, so you're looking at possibly two backs today over the century mark in rushing yards for the Huskies. Back to the ground again with Wright patiently picking his way inside of the 15-yard line.
And the interesting dynamic in that is Northern Illinois gave up 333 yards rushing last week in their football game. And they come into this game after 3 quarters. They were at 253, averaging 5.3 yards per carry. And they were holding Ball State to only 3.9 yards per carry. So they've done a great job of not giving up the rush yards they did last week.
Quick throw. Got a screen set up. Rogers has speed. Rogers has the end zone.
And we talked about it, getting the ball out to your playmaker, allowing them to be dynamic in space. And watch LaDon Bryant, number 0, make this block. It's not a huge block, but just enough. And that's all you need to unleash your playmaker, Rogers, on the outside. You see the speed. He's able to get around the edge and the speed to get to the pylon before the defender can get there. But it all started with LaDon Bryant getting that block on the edge. He did just enough not to get the penalty call for blocking in the back, but enough to get a hand on the defender to allow Rogers to get the space that he needed to get around the edge.
Lining up for the extra point, as this time they do take the 2-possession lead. There's a flag that went up before the extra point went up.
Ball starts offense number 78. 5-yard penalty will replay the try.
See Holst and Rogers there on the sideline looking at the last play.
Before you.
Take 2 for Andrew Glass. Northern Illinois team that has lost 6 in a row. They've gone through the adversity of a season. The breaks have not gone their way. Right now, getting a few breaks and pouncing on them and capitalizing. 4 plays, 53 yards, 125. Northern Illinois capitalizes on the muffed punt. It could go down as a very crucial play in the outcome of this game. An offense that struggled to find consistently taking advantage of the gifts given them today. There's Quinn Sanders, the offensive coordinator for Northern Illinois, up in the booth. Came over from Charleston on the D2 level where he was the head coach. His running back came over with him from Charleston, Shavon Wright, has fittingly had a big day for this offense, 135 yards rushing.
And you can tell what the mindset has been for this entire game. We're going to line up and we're going to run right at you. We're going to play physical Northern Illinois football. They did not feel like they were a physical team last week. They did some extra sessions of tackling this week, of physicality this week, and you see the results.
Weatherly looking for the edge to get around. There are a couple of flags behind the play.
Eric Weatherly on the kickoff return. There are flags on the play.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both on the return team. Holding, number 88, that penalty is declined. Holding, 84, that penalty will be enforced. First down, Ball State.
So now what's interesting with Ball State is they've got to pass the football. They've got to get some vertical passes down the field. They've got to try and get some chunk plays. But for Northern Illinois, you've got to keep everything in front of you. You know, you've got to make sure that you still affect the quarterback. You've got to keep eyes on him because of his ability to run the football and be a playmaker with his feet. But you've got to affect the quarterback as well. You can't let him reign free back there.
Ball State's offense had a really good second half and fourth quarter against Akron a week ago. That was kind of post 59-minute weather delay a week ago they had to deal with. Kyle Kelly took charge during that time. Can he find a way to take charge right now? Loss of 1 on that last play.
Only 5 completions, less than, 11 yards or 12 yards per completion. They're doing a good job of, controlling what he's able to do with the football. And the interesting thing is you cannot give the ball back to Northern Illinois without scoring a touchdown because of the time-consuming drives that they've had.
They go to the ground here with Coy Ashley, Roy Williams, the tackle. To that point, Northern Illinois' offense has a drive in this game where they went 7.5 minutes, 15 plays. Anytime you're playing the Huskies and you're down 2 possessions, it feels like almost, time-wise. We said 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but time-wise, it feels like you have to score against this Husky team.
I think they have to have the mindset that they have to score. Now, you have to look at this as 4-down football right now.
Yep.
They've got to get scores on the board. They cannot give the ball back to Northern Illinois without a score.
Kelly to the air, looks poised into a tight window, incomplete on third down. That might have been Erweiler on the coverage.
And Kelly had Quay Ashley open. You've got to get the ball to Quay Ashley. Watching this play, watch Quay Ashley. You can't see it from this angle, but Quay Ashley's open. You have to throw the football to him. You've got him one-on-one on the outside. He has an opportunity to make a play. The officials are not going to give you that call right there, Hamilton. He's putting his hands up. He thinks he's been interfered with, but he had Quay Ashley.
Beeler broke up the play. Tremendously athletic player at that safety position. Now a fair catch, not guaranteed today. But that one is hauled in by Rogers, and now the Husky offense. How much time can they grind off the clock with their style of play? We'll find out. So, Forrest, this last play we'll take a look at on the third down. You think that maybe there was a different option to throw to?
Yeah, you got to throw it right now. Maturowski, number 17, is late reacting. You got Quay Ashley, number 9, out in the flat. You get it to him immediately. He turned his head immediately. He's waiting for the football. You allow him to be a playmaker. I put my money on Ashley beating Maturowski to get the first down any day of the week.
You see why this Northern Illinois defense has gone 33 straight games holding opponents to fewer than 300 passing yards. They just game plan so well in that category. And the sentiment echoed from the Ball State staff was the record at 1-6 for Northern Illinois. Definitely not indicative of how good of a football team they are. Kelly Johnson Jr. had the first touchdown of the game, making guys miss on the edge, then ultimately dragged down out there. Host of Ball State tacklers coming his way, so if you're Ball State, you need to get off the field as soon as possible.
And if you're Northern Illinois, move away from that tempo game and allow the clock to run. Use all of the time. You want to convert first downs. You want to get first downs, but you want to use up that clock.
You're right. It was tempo. That was the name of the game in the third quarter for Josh Holston, Northern Illinois. But it does look like they're slowing it down, to your point. Javon Wright, the carry. Right into the arms of the D-line for Ball State. Looks like Micah Wing got in there along with Caden Johnson.
And Jason, they're slowing down, but there was still time to run 10 additional seconds off the clock. You've got to use the entire play clock.
This offense not necessarily built for 3rd and 11. Derry Rogers and Jake Applegate, kind of the two safety blankets you think of offensively in a situation like this, if you're going to throw it. We'll keep it on the ground. Hurdling a man as Johnson went over top of Caden Johnson, but well short of a first down.
And what was so dangerous is the ball was hanging out when he went airborne. Watch how he's carrying the ball when he goes airborne over the defender. That is what's scary right here. Watch when he jumps over the defender. Look at the ball right there. That's scary. That is what you cannot. You know, all of the Northern Illinois coaches' eyes got wide when they saw him airborne and the ball out like that.
Leaving on the edge of his seat there in the air. JoJo Lewis, muffed to the last one, has this one. He gets pushed back. Should be about the 22-yard line where they mark the forward progress. So now if you're Kyle Kelly in the Ball State offense, 10-15 to go. Need 2 scores. Huskies defense really starting to lock it down in the pass game. That's that 33 consecutive, holding opponents to under 300 yards. Only 59 today. Ball State's offense, nearly 30 points per game at home, only 7 points per game on the road. That theme continuing today. Kelly going to load up, has a target. Magwood caught just outside of the 40, up to the 44-yard line. So that's what you needed if you're Ball State. Get something through the air quickly.
And that's a busted coverage because nobody was over there with Magwood. He turned the defensive back around. It looked like he expected the safety to have safety help over the top. You see right here, the safety has got to come up. It looked like the defensive back was playing a shallow zone and he expected safety help over the top.
A very rare sight today to see someone so open. Weatherly was the man in motion, trying to get his speed involved. Gain of about 5 there before we're going to get hit by Devion Reynolds.
And this is exactly what you want to do. And Weatherly went out. Looked like he twisted his ankle on that play. So you lose one of your slots playmakers with Weatherly out the game right now. Kelly
will pull, try to slip through traffic. This sets up 3rd down. at a stage in the game where you talked about that 4-down territory.
And because he didn't get a first down, the clock doesn't stop to reset the ball, so the clock is running right now. And you start to think about that from the offensive standpoint. Nerves start to happen because you realize you've got to get points on the board.
Definitely the biggest 3rd down of the game to this point.
Definitely 4-down territory.
Kelly, design keeper, has the first down. Needed 3, got 5.
And that seems to be their most successful play, the quarterback keeper down the gut of that defense. You see a good job getting movement at the point of attack, both guards, and then you got a guard climb the center, climbing up to the second-level defender. That is exactly how it's drawn up. Get movement at the mesh point and then climb up to cover up the second-level defenders.
Kelly keeps it again, using his legs and barreling through tacklers. Picked up 7 there. Reynolds brought him down.
One of the things that defenses take pride in is getting the opportunity to put a hat on the quarterback. And with Kelly running all of these QB draws, you're putting your quarterback in harm's way. So that's something I think Ball State needs to be careful of. Let's see if he pulls the ball out and tries to go over the top.
Kelly has to roll out. Roy Williams trying to track him down. Kelly uses his speed to just get that ball away and avoid a sack. Roy Williams was in pursuit.
And Tristan Cook may have gotten away with the hold on the outsiders right in front of the officials. I thought we were going to see the yellow flag come out. Watch number 70 on this play. Right there, he's got a hold and it's right there in front of the official. I thought the official was going to make that call. Roy Williams did a good job rushing the passer on that play. They got away with one on that play because Tristan Cook definitely held him on the outside.
4 of 11 on 3rd down today. Same play as the last 3rd down. Giving it to Kelly on the draw. They're marking it right up near the yard to gain, and it looks like they're going to move the chains.
And it's interesting, they didn't take the time to measure that when they just automatically went with the first down on that play.
It was close.
But Ball State has to get up on the football. They have to realize the ball has been set. The clock is running. The clock is not your friend right now. You've got to get 2 scores.
Each second very valuable against Northern Illinois team that's thinking about running down that clock when they get it back. Kelly, they had threats vertically. They jump it off to the tight end, Tate Hoover, who was barreling through bodies, brought down by Erweiler, up near the yard to gain. They'll call it a gain of 9.
And he did have his tight end streaking down the middle of the field. I don't know if he saw him.
Under 6 minutes now. Kelly keeps it. Kelly has a first down. Kelly has the edge inside of the 10. We'll see where they mark it. His foot was out. They're calling it at the 5.
And Northern Illinois is not keeping their run fits right here. You see everybody going to the inside. You've got to keep that edge. Roy Williams allowed him to get to the outside. You've got to keep that edge. And you see Northern Illinois players out there with their hands on their hips. Guys are looking a little bit gassed.
And Kyle Kelly commanding this drive. Give it off to Quay Ashley. He ducks his head down to about the 3. Clock with 5:17 and ticking. Still the 2-minute timeout as well.
And one thing Ball State wants to do is to try and get a score on the board but not have to use any of their timeouts. They want to be able to save those along with the 2-minute timeout.
Each of the last 7 meetings decided by 8 points or less in this rivalry. Kelly trying to spin away from Dixon. Oh, he somehow did, but then got brought down from behind. Got free of the first man, couldn't get free of Jay-Sean Thomas.
And an excellent job by that defensive front to get pressure on Kelly, not allow him to get away. You see his elusiveness, but they continue to come after him from all angles. It beat the offensive line in the interior portion of the offensive line. A good job by Deshaun Dixon with the initial pressure, allowing his teammates, Jay-Sean Thomas, to get there. You see right there, that's what you have to do with a quarterback like Kelly. You've got Jay-Sean Thomas, you've got Deshaun Dixon, you've got Roy Williams. All 3 of those guys got a hand on him, and it needed all 3 of them to get him down.
And the loss of 9 is immense when you need a touchdown. 3rd and goal, definitely in 4-down territory. Ball State with their backs against the wall. Huge play on the other side when we come back. So you start thinking strategy here, forcing Ball State to use that timeout because the sack could be huge. If you do, say theoretically, Ball State gets a touchdown here, then you have to think, do you give your defense the option to go out there and get the stop? You need it right away, or do you kick the onside? Well, burning that timeout was big, but first things first, you've got a 3rd and goal after a loss of 9 coming up here when you need a touchdown here. 3:57 to go. Kelly steps up. Kelly. Oh, was that picked off? Looks like it was. Second INT of the game. This is the captain, Beeler. A huge play, possibly a game-sealing play for the Huskies.
And did you see the way that he read Kelly's eyes? Kelly climbed the pocket. Beeler just sat back. Watch Beeler. He's sitting back. He's watching Kelly. He's watching Kelly. And then he jumps the route. A great job by Beeler, waiting on Kelly to release that football. He knew exactly where he wanted to go, but he waited and he baited Kelly. And once he released the football, he stepped right in front of the offensive player.
Northern Illinois, throughout the record, they've gotten back to and wanted to get back to in practice this week their identity. Like you said it, Forrest, they were practicing not like they're 1-6, but like they're 7-0. That was the goal in practice this week. Now run up the middle, trying to run this thing out.
And you know, the danger right here is you're going to have a Northern Illinois defense with 8 to 9, maybe even 10 guys in the box because they know, Ball State defense with 8 to 9 or maybe 10 guys in the box because they know Northern Illinois wants to just run the football, get the clock going, but get the ball out of the shadow of their own end zone. And if he's able to get the ball carrier to the second level, sky's the limit at that point.
We're making some adjustments to the clock here. What Northern Illinois cares about right now is the clock winding down.
Absolutely, and take your time. You're in no rush if you're Northern Illinois.
6 straight losses for the Huskies.
And once again, if you're able to get to the second level, there's not many other defenders to stop you. So that's the danger when you bring all of these guys down in the box to try and stop what you know is going to be a run.
They do just that. Quick tackle. Clock goes down inside of 3 minutes. You still have the 2-minute timeout. If you're Ball State thinking of a sliver of life left, would be getting this stop right now, then a score, and then an onside kick.
Well, the one thing that Ball State is thinking about is trying to force a punt and trying to block the punt.
Yep. Now 3rd and 6. Ball State's hopes hinging on this down. Moving up high all the way forward. A first down and more. That is what is so tough about this Northern Illinois football team. They do not give up. Shavon Wright has had himself a day. 152 rushing yards. Add on 11 more here. Biggest 11 of the game.
And this is just a physical attitude right here. This is a guy that is just not going to go down. He kept his feet moving. He kept the ball wrapped up. He carried about 6 Ball State defenders with him. And, you know, when you talk again about Coach Hammock and what he set as a standard for this football team, you see the reflection right here.
And next week, Buffalo, Bowling Green, Central Michigan versus Western Michigan. Should be 2 good games. Buffalo no longer an unbeaten in the MAC. At Central Michigan, Western Michigan squaring up to be a big game in the standings. Northern Illinois after the 11-yard run that didn't look like it should have been an 11-yard run from Javon Wright. I mean, for us, that theoretically should have been like a 3 or 4-yard gain. Just kept pushing the pile. But that theme of perseverance we talked about off the top of the show. I mean, did that run not embody that for this Husky team that has had a season where you could potentially fall into a mindset of not being as motivated as you were at the beginning of the season? That mentality hasn't crept in for Coach Hammock's crew because of the way he coaches this group, the culture he's built up hasn't crept in despite the record. And he wanted this group to bring the intensity this week. They did it all week long in practice, and they do it to try to close this out.
Well, they're playing with Coach Hammock's mentality, and that's who he is. And you felt that when we talked to him this week. You know, they weren't down. They were disappointed, but they weren't down. And they felt like if they came into this game and played with the physical nature that they play with, that they had a chance.
There it is again. Big run for Wright. Ball is out at the end, though. Who can come up with this? Can we have another change in the narrative of this story right now? Talked about that glimmer of hope left for Ball State. If it's a turnover, there may be a glimmer left. It is a turnover. And the Cardinals say, wait, we were disappointed, but we're not down.
And you've got to hold that ball high and tight. And see, right here, you've got to go down. And he did a good job of putting a shoulder pad on the football. You've got to protect the football. That's the only thing that you cannot and should not do in this situation is fumble the football. You've got to know the only chances they have is to create a fumble.
You got the first down you needed.
Get down after you get the first down.
Wow, you got the first down you needed, and then the fumble in yardage that, like you said, didn't necessarily need to keep happening. Now Kyle Kelly with a short field. Short throw. That is broken up over on the sideline. Incomplete. Good play made over there. That was Davion Reynolds stepping in for Dante Harrison today at corner. Clock stops at 1:42, the one timeout for Ball State. Looking for a score which they've been set up, gifted with a short field, and then an onside kick would have to be in the ensuing mindset. If there's an opportunity to do it, you couldn't have been gifted a better one. Kelly wrapped up. Northern Illinois' defense coming up clutch again. In the sack category, it's Roy Williams.
And he got around the edge right there on the offensive tackle, the big 6'10" offensive tackle, Chris Hood. You've got to sit down in your stance, keep those shoulders square, get a punch at the point of attack.
Kelly eluded Hensley, now rolls out, nothing downfield. Erweiler with the tackle.
And a great job on the back end of that defense, covering up, not giving Kelly anywhere to go at the football. Kelly wanted to release the football, but he knows he's throwing against his body, and you've got defenders coming towards you. That is the dangerous thing to do, so he held on to the football. A good job covering on that back end.
Fourth down, here's the game. Kelly down the seam, has a target. Low throw, is it a completion to McDougal? It is. A little run up, clock will stop as they reset the chains. First down inside of 2 minutes.
And that's definitely a catch. But what's interesting, when they got that sack, a lot of time came off the clock. What I wonder is if Ball State missed an opportunity not taking the timeout when Kelly was sacked, because they lost a lot of time when Kelly was sacked.
So they're going to review that.
But go back to that sack, Jason. When they didn't take a timeout, you lost maybe 15 to 20 additional seconds.
They added 2 seconds on, so from 41 to 43 seconds. This is the catch from McDougal.
It definitely looks like a catch.
In real time, it did look like he was underneath the football.
Let's see right here.
At this stage of the game, though, an important play to review.
Question is, did the ball move? It looked like he had his hands under the football. They're probably looking to see if the ball moved or hit the ground after. Did he follow all the way through with the catch?
After review, the ruling on the field of a catch is upheld. First down, Ball State.
So Ball State fans can breathe. Heart still racing with a sliver of hope left after the Shavon Wright fumble. This game prolonged. You never know down the stretch in the MAC. 21-7. Kelly trying to be the hero late. Brought down again, though. Looked like Hensley got there first.
And it's just nowhere for Kelly to go at the football. A good job on the back end covering, allowing those defenders to get to him.
Got to go quick after the sack. They have the one timeout. Don't use it. Clock is ticking. Quick throw to the sideline, trying to get out of bounds. They do. Ty Robinson on the catch. It'll stop at 17 seconds.
And I think right here, if you have any chance of tying this game up, you're going to have to get a score right here and hope that you've got enough time to get an onside kick and then get a Hail Mary. But they've got to get a touchdown right here. This, to me, you have to go to the end zone, and it has to be quick. 17 seconds left, because you've got to leave enough time to get an onside kick and then have time to try and get the ball down for a Hail Mary.
Oh, here it is. They're thinking the same thing. Going end zone. Came up just short, though. At the 1 yard line. They will have to reset the chain, so clock will stop for now while they do that at 12 seconds, allowing them to get up without it moving. But once things are set, it'll start ticking again. Here's Kelly trying to get there, dodging bodies. I don't believe he did, Forrest. He's short, so clock's going to keep ticking unless they call that timeout. Northern Illinois players starting to get onto the field on the sideline. Coach is trying to hold them back. There looks like there was a timeout call.
Please put 3 seconds on the game clock.
But even giving them the timeout, there's not enough time left.
That initial pass play not getting in right there when they were going for the end zone.
You've got to throw it in the end zone. You can't throw it with someone trying to get to the end zone.
Came
I
up
thought
a
that was a
yard
mistake.
short.
Yes, it was. And I get it. Kelly's just trying to make a play at that point. He's been sacked. He's been beat up on these last couple of drives. And this right here, I think you throw it right there. You had an opportunity to throw the ball to your receiver. And Kelly's missed some guys all afternoon, but he had an opportunity to Eric Weatherly, number 3, right there in the back corner of the end zone. You throw that pass. But you have to think Kelly's been under so much pressure. He's been hit. He's been beat up these last couple of drives. He's been sacked a couple of times. He's just trying to think of the best way he can to score the football, but you've got to get the ball to your playmaker on that play. This is just academic for me now.
Yep, all cosmetic at this point. Husky sideline can sense it. Those 3 seconds are off the clock. If there's any team in the MAC that deserves it this week, it's the Huskies. 6 straight losses, They snap the skid and get the trophy back.
That was a tense handshake between the head coaches on the field. You see the majority of the Ball State players running off the field, but the handshake between the head coaches was not a friendly one.
These games are battles. It came down to the final stretch. Coach Hammock, not one to hide his emotions.
Well, it was the physicality, I think, that won this football game for Northern Illinois. They came out and they played with a physical mindset, and you saw it throughout the afternoon. They ran the ball physically. They played physical at the offensive line, and on the defensive front, they got physical, and they shut down Kelly, who has been dynamic all season.
After back-to-back years of losing to Ball State on game-winning field goals, the Bronze Stalk returns to DeKalb. Latest edition of this rivalry. The first in a while, it wasn't a one-possession game, but it felt like it all the way through. A great game, great job from our team behind the scenes, phenomenal job. Hey, everyone in the truck. For Forrest Connolly, I'm Jason Ross Jr. saying so long from DeKalb, where the Huskies get the Bronze Stalk back. More action coming your way next week on the ESPN Family of Networks.